Hi everyone, welcome to Built-in Functions lecture. So Python has at least 68 built-in Python functions, and we're just going to cover the most commonly used ones, which include absolutes, all the way down to isInstance. And we're going to cover two different examples. Okay, so let's take a look at the first one. Okay, so we're going to be covering sum all the way to absolutes. We have here these two lists, so case 1 and case 2. And the first one we're just going to work with is I want to get the total of our case 1. So what we can do is sum, and that's going to sum up or add up all the values in our case 1. So you can see here we have a value of minus 694 with all these decimal numbers here. Now I want to change this number to something a bit more easier to read. So what I'll do is firstly actually want to have it be a positive value, so we'll do abs for absolutes. Okay, but it hasn't got rid of the decimals, so what I can do now is round, and if I just do, let's say, 0, you can see it gets rid of all of them, but it's still a float number, but I want to keep some of those numbers. So what I'll do, those decimal numbers, is that we have this now. Okay, and I could also change that to 2, for example, etc. Alright, so I'll put that back to 3. And let's say I also want to get the max and min values of our case 1. Well, all we have to do here is just case 1 and then min, case 1, and we have the positive and negative values, the maximum and minimum of each. Okay, so let's say I also want to reverse the order of case 1 and also case 2. So what I can do is, firstly, I want to sort the values. So we'll just do S sorted. And what will happen is that it's going to arrange the values. Let me just comment this one out here. It will arrange the values from the lowest to the highest. But I also want to reverse it as well. So what I can do is simply with these square brackets, colon, colon, -1, and you can see that the values are now reversed from being the highest value to the lowest value. And similarly, I can do the same thing with case 2. Like so. Okay, so let's move on to our second and final example. Okay, so what I'd like to do here is take a look at the isInstance. So this is very interesting, this one. So let's just do the same like we had before. We do total sum case 3. Okay, so it's minus 442. So what I'd like to do is check what it actually is. So if I do type total, we know it's an integer, but I'd also like to do isInstance. So you'll learn about instances later on in this course when we get to object-oriented programming. But if I do total and then I do, let's say, float, for example, we're going to get a Boolean output of false because it's not a float, it's an integer. So we can get true here. Alternatively, let's say I have case 3, and we know case 3 is a list, so if I do list, then I get true. If I put something else like, say, tuple, we get false. Okay, great. So that's very important if you want to understand how to handle a particular variable. It might change in some way, it might mutate. So if this was, let's say, a dictionary, then you wouldn't need to do the indexing, you would do a key value pair instead. Okay, so let's take a look at the any and the all. And we already know about the len. So of course the len is simply, if I just do case 3, we get the total of 6 elements within our case 3 list. And similarly, if I do for case 4, we get 4. And the same for case 5. Right, so I want to see how many values are in case 4 that are true. So I'm going to do all. And I'll do it for case 4. Okay, so we get false. So we're getting a Boolean output here. And that's because not all the values are positive. We only have one positive value here. But if I do any, you can see I get true. So it's going to give out a Boolean of either true or false. And similarly, if I do the same for any, case 5 is going to be true. But it's also going to be true if I do all, because all the values are positive. They're all ones. And remember that true is equal to 1. And false is equal to 0. They're numerically equivalent to each other. Okay, I hope that's been insightful, and I will see you in the next lecture. Thanks.